The list is long for my opinions on albums, artists, and music in general. When I scroll through Spotify, sometimes I really forget how much I love indulging in some artists' music. A time where I find myself going back on buried music likings is now, on an album's release week. What I love about music in general is that each phase of your life can bring a different interpretation on an album or song. Culture changes, topics in this world change, but most importantly, people like you and I change too. Among the announcement of J. Cole's off-season, I felt the same way. I knew I needed to dive into some songs that I love. This time around, I found two major themes: duality through storytelling. Intrigued to look more into his background and discography once again, this all made sense. At only 5 years old, he moved from a quite good neighborhood to a very rough one, upon his parents' divorce. He said that this place showed him what the reality of the world is like. Having to keep his shoulders up when once he did not have to really showed him the two sides of life. He would then move on to Forest Hills Drive, a nicer place as his mom got remarried, but also a much nicer neighborhood, where he'd spend most of his adolescence beat making, finding his first job, and learning how to drive on the nicer side of the fence. He always existed in two worlds, before he was even conscious of it.
There's like a recurring theme of this good versus evil battle. Why do you identify with that so much?
Duality, man, it just goes back before I was even conscious of it to just being half black, half white. You know what I mean? My mother being white, but I look black, you know what I mean? So from those things, existing in two different worlds at the same time, being in all the honors classes and AP classes, but all my friends was just like over there, you know what I mean? I always existed in two worlds, being into
Without being just about race, he saw himself in the dual life of music taste, where he'd be listening to underground hip hop at home, but when he was with his friends, he'd be bumping 3-6 Mafia. By living on the perspective of the wealthy neighborhoods, the poor, black, and white, J. Cole channels his experiences and perspective into storytelling, in a way that someone on each side of the spectrum can listen to and come together. This is first concretely seen musically through Born Sinner, with the album title paying homage to Biggie's line off Juicy, Born Sinner, the opposite of a winner. The taste of sin at such a young age set in the path of wrongdoing before consciousness. This message is quite apparent even on the cover, with evil being crowned like an angel. Sometimes I brag like Hove, sometimes I'm real like Pac. Sometimes I focus on the flow to show the skills I got. Sometimes I focus on the dough, look at these bills I got. This is seen immediately within the start of the album, while being broken between wanting to make conscious, uplifting hip-hop, but realizing what's really marketable, and the pressure to gear his music towards these themes. The rest of the album toys with evil and good, losing who you are in LA, the double meaning of relationships, power, and control, and tying it all together with staying the same, while being up or down, and loving yourself with a crooked smile. 2014 Forest Hills Drive once again plays into the Big Brother storytelling side of J. Cole, first really seen with Wet Dreams, where he loses his virginity in a fictional story through a school fling. Kind-hearted, but Cole once again gives an older mentor-like perspective. One time for my mind and two for yours. I got food for your thoughts to soothe your soul. He transcends into the down-on-the-dirt 18-year-old adolescent perspective to those listening, where he battles his ego, catching himself envying a friend who seems to have it all through selling drugs. But once given his perspective, Cole doesn't have it all that bad. Listen, you're everything I want to be, that's why I fuck with you. So how are you looking up to me when I look up to you? You're about to go get a degree, I'll be stuck with two choices. Either graduate to wait or selling number 2. For what? A couple $100 or two a week? Duality comes back with a tale of two cities. One city, Fayetteville, but two perspectives, which plays on the idea of Charles Dickens' novel A Tale of Two Cities. With the first half of the song as an innocent perspective, looking at his friend who caught a body, understanding that anyone can become that person. While in the second verse, we see the perspective of the now become robber. No more contemplation, we are going to circle around and hit a lick. Ego-driven, looking to get a kilo, and getting locked up isn't even an option. All aided by the echoing chorus of hands in the air. As life goes on and for your eyes only, Duality continues but the spotlight changes. J. Cole lets us jump into the life of the late childhood friend James, as he falls into dealing drugs, where he later falls in love, attempting at a life change only to fall dead at 22, giving us another storytelling song of change, a letter of maturity to his future daughter. But one of the songs that were in J. Cole's perspective was Neighbors, where good, evil, and storytelling comes into play again. But based on the real event and a freak moment for those who were involved, a Dreamville recording studio in North Carolina was raided upon the suspicion of dealing drugs. I feel like this incident opened his eyes again, a first-hand experience of being racially accused, realizing that this is still how people are treated day to day, when not having the privilege of being in a celebrity's shoes. K.O.D. embodied the movement of J. Cole using his influence to become a mentor. The thesis of the album is found in the title K.O.D. There are 3 interpretations that J. Cole moved with: Kids on Drugs, where he talks about the commercials that infect our youth revolving around drugs. Are you feeling down? Are you having lonely thoughts? Here, take this pill. King Overdose, the act of looking at escape methods such as drugs, alcohol, or women instead of facing our own demons. Lastly, Kill Our Demons, which J. Cole describes as our end goal, to face what is going on inside of you. He says that everyone has something going on and that nobody nor nobody's family is perfect. Finding the roots to your issues and facing them is what life is all about. He continues with saying, look in the mirror or look inside and ask ourselves questions like, yo, what is really eating me? What's causing me to run to this thing as an escape? And once I find the root of that, let me look at it in its face and see what it really is. He states that the rest of the album can be our own interpretation. By letting an artist help visualize where each path can take us, gives us the assistance of doing the right thing. This is what J. Cole accomplishes in K.O.D. The song K.O.D. manifests the idea of the album title, in the sense of King Overdosed, looking the other way of how he really feels while living recklessly. But the real reinforcement of duality is found through the appearance of Kill Edward, once thought as a feature but is only a pitch voice of J. Cole, like the voice inside of his head. Kill Edward embodies the acronym mindset of K.O.D., like the devil on his shoulder. Kill Edward cannot cope, give him a drink, give him a smoke. He knows that heaven is a mind state and he's ready to chase his high. We are once again visited by Kill Edward in Friends, diving as deep as possible into the war on drugs through his character. Rather than blaming the victim, the song looks at the roots of addiction. It starts at home, the system, the unstable households with fathers missing. But it becomes worse when you step outside your front door, through music and pharmaceutical ads pushed on America, all topped with the feeling that it's not safe to express yourself, where one will typically turn to the chorus, medicate. Juxtaposing these lyrics, J. Cole faces his demons, with one of the hardest actions to make, apologizing, admitting his wrongdoings, and opening himself up to being vulnerable. It isn't a complete J. Cole album without a story about love, like in GOMD where he dedicates an entire verse to intimacy, finishing off with stating that it's a topic that nobody sings about anymore. Kevin's heart has a double meaning just like Power Trip, the love for drugs and cheating. Fictional characters come to life, as the music video features Kevin Hart, who cheated on his wife, where the video shows the life of temptation. The send-off of this album is beautiful because 1985 gives the pedestal to Case in Point to Kids on Drugs. Between the lines, we can now see a great example of what J. Cole was talking about all along, and what a one-on-one conversation is like with this generation's mentor. Throughout this song, he's not looking to bring newer artists down, but rather tear them layer by layer to their ego through each verse, painting the bigger picture, showing them what the industry can push you into, and making them realize the influence that they have on those they speak to in their lyrics. Concluding with the idea of facing this now, instead of at the bottom, where the fake friends leave and so do the fans. I finished the script on May 14th, the day of the release of the off-season. I took this date to indulge into the album and create my own interpretation. 4 days upon the release, J. Cole released a documentary. He explains that the off-season falls in parallel with the mentality of the warm-up. He was snapped into the warm-up mentality by his friends, and realized that he couldn't be the Iverson without dedicating himself wholeheartedly to the game. Comfort is the enemy. Hunger is replaced by luxury, which in reality works against him, Every actor, artist, or anyone who has achieved success has hit this crossroad. I mean, look at yourself. Snapping out of anything due to comfortability can result in an awfully hard comeback. If you're a runner and have stopped for a year, sure, you can get back into running, but to perfect that marathon requires even more determination than when you first started. You have to create your own hunger for the goal that was attained but now is lost. Cole compared the offseason to one as a basketball player. To get back into the regular season, you need to put in the hours to see the results. I love the sports analogy that J. Cole gives because this can align with a lot in life. We ever so focus on how many shots Iverson got in the season, while we ignore how hard he works outside of that game, the other 95% of his life. This can align with making an album quite greatly, as J. Cole shows that there's more than we can even comprehend that goes into each song. In 95 South, he says it himself, "This shit is too easy now. How can you not hit steady threes with this much practice?" J. Cole takes control of his own life and creates something out of it through My Life. It embodies the thesis of putting in work. He uses duality once again to look at two paths, working towards his escape or staying in the same position, which can be deadly. With the come up mindset, J. Cole is able to channel the making it out mentality. This time, making it out is escaping the crippling ideology of comfort. Off-season is J. Cole at his highest height, and that is the thesis of the album. It's not just the 39 minutes that he is present with you, but everything outside it too. The lengths that he pushed through while being under pressure and practicing now creates a new height. He's on the highest level of skill, and he's not here to stay and be comfortable, but to move up even higher. It is important to understand that although Cole thinks he's great, he often humbles himself. He does not see himself as a god. In fact, he touches on this in Pride is the Devil, stating that pride leads to pulling a robbery, family dichotomy, and being too proud to give apologies. In the last few tracks, these ideas are reiterated through The Climb by feeling like he's coming back to life. Distant through success and clothes, as he moves up, he doesn't wear the same uniform. His friends resorted to comfortability, which ended up with him getting shot. He completes the album with Nothing I'd Expect Less, a mentoring track for you and I, preaching the message that he will always stay true to his core self. He lets the album send off with Bass, younger brother of one of his day one best friends, who reminds us that all you've got to do is believe and your time will come. In life we have choice, in simplest terms, good and bad. Although J. Cole is not telling you to choose one or the other, throughout his career he gives the perspective for you to learn, providing a medium through music. I would undoubtedly say that J. Cole acts as a mentor, an older brother of hip-hop. Take a look deeper into the lines of your favorite J. Cole song. You may even learn something about yourself. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I want to know what your favorite J. Cole album is. Also, what are your thoughts on the off-season? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, guys.